Get the stories that are shaping the continent here on Africa Link.
For a continent in transition to 25, African Dreams and Realities at Christmas reflects on the hopes, challenges and aspirations shaping Africa. This year, the ECOWAS region grappled with political instability, including coups and protests, while also witnessing inspiring youth-led movements for change. In East Africa, the impact of climate crisis and rising living costs tested resilience, yet innovation and entrepreneurship flourished, offering glimpses of progress. Meanwhile, the SADC region faced economic uncertainty and energy challenges, but stood out for its community-driven initiatives and growing calls for equitable development. But who else than our own correspondents, Glory Mushinge in Zambia, Thelma Mwadzaya in Kenya, and Adwoa Tenkoroma in Ghana can take this moment with us on Christmas to discuss, reflect, and look to the continent's future. It is an all-women podcast today. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us here on DW Africa Link podcast. Today we are all in the Christmas mood. We have the Christmas vibes. I want to hear from you, all of you, at the same time. Ladies, let's welcome our listeners.
Hi, listeners.
Hi, listeners. Welcome.
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah, we are in the Christmas mood here at the Africa Link podcast, and it's a continent that is in transition to 2025 African Dreams and Realities at Christmas. Now, I just want to start with you, Ellen. You are in Ghana. Give us a summary of the major happenings in your country and region through 2024.
So 2024 has been a long, difficult year, not just for Ghana, but the entire ECOWAS region. I say this because it's still the time when the country is trying to rise back to its pre-COVID-19 eras. You know, when it comes to the economic fundamentals, a lot of things went wrong during COVID. And I feel like as much as the entire world was on its knees, some of the African countries, particularly in the ECOWAS region, were hardest hit, like Ghana. So, for instance, now you hear economists or the economic watchers say that things are returning back, or we are seeing some signs of recovery. But there's still significant economic difficulties that has run through the entire year. We've seen several protests from people who partook in government's debt exchange program, which was, again, as a result of the COVID-19, and then Ghana running to the IMF. And we've seen protests on erratic power supply. We know how power cuts affect businesses and households. So we've seen people massing up on the street to protest the power crisis in the country. We have also seen electioneering periods. This year was an election period for Ghana. And the last time we spoke, we were talking about elections. The campaign season, as usual, had its own challenges. You had people, what we have not seen in this year's campaign is a lot of violence, or this year's election period is a lot of violence. But after the elections, we had pockets of violence happening with some members of the opposition who are now going to become the government next year by January, going to certain government offices and looting the areas and ransacking the place. This is a usual occurrence, especially when your power is changing hands every 8 years in Ghana. So basically, on the ECOWAS front, I think it has been challenging as well. This year was when we had Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso deciding to leave the bloc.
Yeah, and that really was big news in Africa as well.
Exactly, because for Ghana, for instance, these three countries are one of our major trade partners. So when you talk about Burkina Faso, yesterday I went to visit some livestock dealers, and they were talking about how challenging it has been for them because they import their cattle, their goats from Burkina Faso. And so it's really a problem that the country decides to leave the bloc. And, you know, ECOWAS operates with certain guidelines and protocols. For instance, one that has to do with free movement. So if you're a member country of ECOWAS, then you can freely move and trade among other countries. Or perhaps you can have duty-free goods, especially when it has to do with some non-perishable goods and you're trading in among yourselves. But when this happened, a lot of traders have had to bear the brunt.
Glory Mushinge, you are in Zambia. The same question. Summary of the major happenings in your country and SADC region through 2024.
So a lot happened in Zambia. Firstly, one of the most important happenings was the reaching of an agreement between Zambia and the IMF on debt restructuring with some of our major lenders in the country. Also, we had some regional collaborations with countries such as Angola, the Democratic Republic of Congo, to build for the construction of a major rail line called the Lobito Corridor, which has been supported very hugely through millions of US dollars by the American government, and it's meant to help us do trade better than we've done in the past. So that was good, but also we had some issues in Zambia that other SADC African countries also experienced, the drought. It was a big situation, and in countries such as Zimbabwe, you had a situation where one of the biggest, if not the biggest, man-made lake Kariba, that supplies these two countries with hydroelectric power, had to dry up. And so we've seen a lot of hardships caused by lack of electricity and citizens being exposed to prolonged hours of load shedding. So the list is endless, but in a nutshell, that's what's been happening.
And SADC got a new chairman, I guess, in 2024. That's the Zimbabwean president, right, Glory?
Exactly. Oh my God, yes. that was interesting, and it was good that we had a situation where in the end these presidents were able to break even and continue collaborating, because as you would remember, there were a few, I don't know whether to call them tensions, before that happened, that we didn't know how that was going to pan out. When first of all, Zimbabwe held its elections, and we had the head of mission from Zambia in the form of our former vice president, Nevas Mumba, give a report that did not really appease the leaders in Zimbabwe. And that caused a bit of a shake in the relationships. And then later on, we saw a video of President Mnangagwa speaking with Russian President Vladimir Putin about how he felt uncomfortable about the support that the US was giving Zambia, and wanted something to match that from Russia. But in the end, I think diplomacy worked, and we should be good.
Now we head to East Africa. Thelma Mwadzaya, you are our correspondent now today, speaking about what's happening in the East African region. Summarize for us the major happenings in your country and the region through 2024.
In Kenya, plenty has happened in 2024. There's been protests from Gen Z, from the young people, which was a totally different, it was a different shift from the regular protests. They did not have stones that they were throwing about it. Instead, they were using their phones to record what was happening. And there still got to be a bit of a, can I say, a push and pull. But President Ruto got to actually be pushed to the limit this year. That's how I feel, and that's what we see. That's what happened.
How though? At first, as we were watching the protest happening from afar, we really thought, I never thought that December will come and President Ruto is still the president, but there he is, he's still there. So how do you feel he was pushed to the limit?
He was pushed to the limit because he had to make changes within the first 2 years of his leadership, being in leadership. So to me, I feel he was really pushed the limit. I don't think he envisaged a situation where he will be pushed to make changes because the people, the masses, want change. I don't think he envisaged that situation. So to me, I feel he was pushed. Right now, I feel, well, he knows how to play his political cards. So He's been at it for a while. He's been in government for a while, as a minister, as an MP, as a deputy president. He has a lot of experience, so he knows the buttons to touch. But the protest, to me, I feel he did not think that would happen in the first term of his leadership.
Let's head to ECOWAS once again. Ellen, now we are looking at the economic situation in Ghana and the broader ECOWAS region, especially now as people are celebrating Christmas. What is happening? Are there any, does Christmas look the same that side? Especially, of course, we're talking of how the economic situation shapes people's Christmas celebrations this year.
Absolutely. So Christmas does not look the same, quite honestly. And you find a lot of people telling you that they've had to cut down on their spending or on the partying. So Ghana is around the block. Ghana is known as a destination for Dirty December. So if you want to
Nigeria, you people,
even Nigerians come here during Christmas, to come and have fun, because a lot of the Afro Nation, Afro futuristic events happen here in Ghana. So it brings a lot of people on the continent here. But this year it looks very different. The economic challenges I spoke about earlier has affected the pockets of many. So, for instance, you have maybe for myself, for instance, if I spend, say, 1,000 cedis for my family to get few groceries or poultry for the home for Christmas, this year I may have to cut down, say, and do 500, half of that. Because really people are thinking about January and how they're going to survive the economy. This is the reason the cost of things are extremely high. And for an item that perhaps you purchased last year for, let's say, $200, you're going to have to pay a double of that this year. And so, yes, the exchange rate depreciation has affected a lot of things. Earlier, I was talking about the trade between Ghanaians and the countries which decided to leave ECOWAS, the ECOWAS region. You've had a lot of people complaining about the cost barrier involved now, because now it will take much more than just moving freely into these countries to bring the goods that ordinarily you have had a free movement to go and bring. And we've also had issues about regular imports. So, for instance, the cedi has done terribly this year. And so, as compared to the other major trading currencies. So, when you are taking money out of your pocket to celebrate this Christmas, you have all of these to think about. You have increasing cost of items that has been fueled by cedi depreciation. You also have the fact that the entire economy really is in a difficult place. And so people are really cutting down on a lot of things they would have ordinarily do this Christmas. Sometimes you're moving around in town during Christmas. You see a lot of decoration, lots of lights and all of that. This year, I have not seen so much of it. Yes.
Were people focusing more on changing the president more than preparing for Christmas? What's happening? Are you seeing any visible signs of political change or tension affecting how people view the future during this season?
So Josie, the truth of the matter is that in election year, people are very careful, even with celebrations. Because when you're going into the elections, you're not sure who is going to win, who is going to lose, and all of that. But now the winner is clear. The opposition party has won the election on the presidential side, even in parliament. They are going to be sworn in on January 7 next year. We have a little pockets of tension around some parliamentary seats. So Ghana has 276 parliamentary seats. So far, we have declared majority of the seats with the exception of 2 seats. As of last week, it was 9 seats, but just over the weekend, 7 seats were recollated, declared for the governing party. So the 2 remaining seats are still in contention. The opposition has served notice that they will not accept the results that have come. And so we still have a little bit of tension building up, even though they've had a clear win in this election. And January 7th, it appears that this government is going to hand over to the opposition party.
Right. Wow, so there is a lot that's happening in Ghana, and obviously
Absolutely.
ECOWAS will also be affected positively or negatively, whichever way. Now, Glory, let's talk about also in Southern Africa, in Zambia. Christmas. What role do Zambia's current political economic realities play in shaping the tone of Christmas celebrations this year?
Okay, so the experience is not too different from Ghana. Zambians, as you would expect of so many other Africans, are generally what can be described as the life of the party. During Christmas time, most like to go all out and spend like there's no tomorrow. The festive feeling kicks in early on in the month of December or even the previous one, and you start getting that exciting noise, the razzmatazz, the ads about where to go for different celebratory events, concerts, fireworks, displays, you name it. But this year has been rather different, a little bit slow, and up until this point, there are people that say they are not feeling it, and mostly it's due to the bad economy, which is forcing a lot of them to watch every penny as they plan for their Christmas shopping. Load shedding, as I said, is another factor which has affected the way citizens entertain themselves because there's a lot of darkness, preventing families from, curling up together as they would do in the past in their living rooms, enjoy some Christmas movies, carols, shows, cooking, and all those kinds of activities that have in the past heightened our festive mood. So in as much as there are some people who are excited about this year's Christmas celebrations, the tone for many is rather lackluster and does indeed correspond with the current state of affairs.
Yeah, it can never be easy. Just being in the dark, no water, you don't know what tomorrow holds. And this is festive season where people are supposed to even afford. I remember growing up in Zimbabwe, then this is only the time we would eat rice and chicken, and yeah. So, just reflecting back, you see that how the times have changed. And is it getting any better? It doesn't look like it is. Now, Thelma, in East Africa, we come to you. How are the effects of inflation and rising living costs impacting Christmas traditions and spending in Kenya and the East African region?
Inflation is a real issue right now. Many people, there's a lot of travel during Christmas naturally. Yes, there was a massive traffic jam on the way to up country and down to the coast like 2 days ago. But the fares have gone up. So yes, people are driving down to their respective villages, but the numbers are not as many as expected. The estates are still full. There's so many kids all over the place still playing around. That means not so many have managed to travel, although there's those sub-traffic on the road. And also even those who've traveled, there are things they've had to cut back on so that they're able to actually go and spend time with family because things have become so expensive. Money doesn't stretch so far. And the things that people used to do, they don't do anymore, like the partying and everything. That has changed, yeah.
Now, as we conclude ECOWAS and Ghana, you are starting the year with a new president. He's not really new because this is a comeback. What does Ghana and ECOWAS have hope for in 2025?
Well, so on the political front, a lot of people have huge expectations of this new government that will be sworn in on 7th January. A lot of promises have been made, and because he's not particularly new and somebody people know already, you find some level of optimism among the populace on what he can do and how much of the promises that have been made will be fulfilled. So on that front, there's a lot of expectation for next year. Economists are also predicting that things will start picking up by next year. So we only hope for the best.
Right, absolutely. Now, this has been a all women's production, all women's voices, as we hope that Africa improves in terms of having more female leaders, female bosses, and female experts, female analysts, and female correspondents. I just want to say thank you so much, ladies. Thelma Mwadzaya in Kenya.
Thank
Our
you.
correspondent, thank you for joining us. Adoa Tenkurama in Ghana, thank you so much for joining us. And Glory Mushinge in Zambia.
Thank you,
We really
Josie.
appreciate. And on behalf of the entire Crew and the team behind the scenes, we want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you
Thank
too.
and
Merry
same.
Christmas to you too.
Abuja, Nairobi, Harare. Africa Link's correspondents bring African stories to you.
At the Africa Link podcast, we always look across the continent to see how the stories and issues we are dealing with play out or at times even overlap. So how has the year 2024 been? What's up for Christmas and any hopes for 2025? We hear from a diverse range of people across Africa, each with their unique perspectives and experiences, enriching our understanding of the continent.
2024, this year, I've seen massive growth emotionally, spiritually, career-wise. I've learned a lot. This Christmas, I'm not expecting to have that much fun because I'm low on cash. But next year, God willing, I'm hoping for more growth.
So 2024 has been quite a great year for me because there's been some achievements on my end, personal achievements at that. Well, Christmas, hoping to have a very nice Christmas, a very fruitful one. Hoping to smile at everybody and just spread love with a merry season. And hoping for the best in 2025.
The year 2024 has been fulfilling. I'm working and that makes me happy. And for this Christmas, I'm looking forward to meeting family, doing a lot of fun activities actually. And I'm hopeful next year would also be a great year, God willing.
It's been a very tough year, but I thank God for good health. Everything, there are no jobs, the economy is bad, things are just not happening the way they should. Christmas, I'm going to the village. I just need a break from the city. I mean, things have been tough, so I just need to go and have a break.
2024 has been a nice year, blowing cold and hot. Experienced challenges here and there. Sometimes taxes coming from the government trying to fix life. Plans for Christmas is, of course, as a family, we expect to have some good time with the kids, have some get-together, have some small party, though with a small pocket, but we shall manage. Yeah, we hope that 2025 will be a good year, that everything will just go well.
The year 2024 has been moderately good to me. I've been able to manage financial constraints, and I'm looking forward to a better year. My plans for Christmas as a person, I just intend to sit down, relax. I hope that 2025 will bring new energy, new opportunities that will help me to grow.
2024 is probably the worst year of my life. I had one resolution for 2024, was to get into school, which I accomplished. I got into school, but I lost my mom 5 months ago. And I was raised in a single parent household. And that's why I'm not celebrating Christmas. I'm not celebrating anything.
2024 is not going well for me. There is a lot of problems. I wish 2025 I can get a job abroad. I don't have anything to do at Christmas. I just be at home and then I go to church.
For Christmas, I just want to be with my family, my friends. We come eat some food, all of us home, which we braai, we put some fireworks, have some fun. It's really hard for you to reach the end of the year. A lot of people are died. I have lost like 2 friends this year. So.
That's it for this edition of Africa Link. Remember, you are not just a listener, but a part of our community, and your engagement can shape the direction of our discussions. We value your insights and encourage you to share your thoughts with us, whether it's through our social media platforms or directly through our website. We want to hear from you. Remember to follow so you can catch all of the Africa Link podcast episodes. And this podcast was co-produced and edited by Isaac Mugabe from the whole entire Africa Link team and the technical team behind the scenes. We want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. My name is Josie Mahachi. Thanks for listening. Until the next one, it's bye for now. Once again, Merry Christmas.
DW News.
This is Mimi Mefone with